Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 212.
218, not even close.
This is episode 218. I wasn't even close. 218 of the Compound Podcast, presented by Parse Rum, our friends.
212, you're going back in time. That's like 7 weeks ago.
I don't know what happened. 218 of the Compound Podcast, presented by Parse Rum. I love Parse. You love Parse. Parse is at Binny's. If you're in the Chicagoland area, go to Binny's. Grab some Parse. Tell them the Compound sent you. Also, parserum.com. Parse Rum, our favorite rum, your favorite rum, Parse Rum. I got a couple Parses today. I got a, when I say Parse, you say home run today.
You know what you're due for?
What?
You're due for a Cincinnati home run.
I hit some rockets today right at people. Rockets. All over the field. 4 bats. Knocking the first AB. And then 3 rockets right at people. Wasn't really carrying Cincy today. It was really humid.
Fair. But you're still you're
hit a ball 104 to right center, didn't go out.
Oh. Is this your guys' last one in Cincy?
Yeah.
I mean, you need one. Can't go the whole season without one in Cincy. Come on now.
I'd like to hit a homer. Just to hit a homer would be nice. Like homers.
Well, that too. But
yeah, it'd be cool.
Cincy's your spot.
Yeah. Baseball gods haven't been very nice to me. I've been hitting a lot of balls hard and they've been going in gloves, and I hate that.
That just means you're due.
Is that more frustrating for you than like ground? Like, would you rather ground out or would you rather like hammer a ball and have it be caught?
No. I want to hammer it right at someone every time.
Yes, that is way easier to sleep with.
I can walk out of the field today knowing that I hit 4 scuds and that I'm in a good place. I just keep going and the scuds are going to get down. When I roll over 3 times, when I like punch twice into like gross, just I hate it.
This is a crazy hypothetical. Would you rather go 1 for 4, 0 for 4, all 4 of them 100 plus EV at a guy, or 2 for 4 with 2 like broken bat horrible swing bleeders?
2 for 4. What?
It was a stupid question. I don't know. I went down the road. It didn't work out. You know, sometimes I just start a sentence and I don't know where it's going.
You're gonna have to turn around on that road.
It wasn't great. Tom loves it though. Yeah.
I think the misconception of like when you hit a blooper, like there's a lot of bloopers that are produced by good swings. Rollover ground balls that get through the infield, not so much. Like those are generally like, oh my God, how'd that happen? But like when you get jammed and you hit like just a gross little right over the infielder's head, that's a great swing. And like when a guy makes a good pitch and you stay through something and like get enough bat on it to hit it over an infielder's head, like that's a really good, takes a lot of skill to do that. Rolling over a ball through the infield, not so much.
That's like the old, I feel like it doesn't get said as much anymore. Like broken bat singles over shortstop's head. Like, oh, he muscled it out there. Like, oh, he was just so strong. He was able to get it out over the infield. Zach, would you agree that that's a good swing?
Interesting. Can I just say that's an interesting take? Because like the guys that are like too strong, usually their balls, they end up going to the outfielder, and that's a problem.
Yeah. Zach,
yes, I would agree. I've always heard good hitters get jammed. That was always a thing growing up and in high school and college, more so in college.
You know what great hitters do? They find a barrel.
No, they get hits, even if they're broken bats, even if taking 2 for 4 opposed to an 0 for 4, right, Dakota?
That is true. Or they can just drive the ball in the right center field gap like somebody did.
It is the trade deadline week. It is the reality of tomorrow. So we're recording this on Monday night. The trade deadline is at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. The Cubbies made a move already. Morel for Paredes. Do you guys ever play with him?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That was my double play partner in
Southland.
That was the first guy I played next to in the middle of the infield in rookie ball and in low A too. And then when I was in Myrtle when he and Candelario got traded. I've been on record saying when I played next to Paredes, he was 17 at that point, whatever, 18. I thought that I legitimately was in a different stratosphere or he was in a different stratosphere. Like I was at the wrong spot. Like this guy was so good, and he was 17 years old, 18 years old, whatever he was. And I legitimately was like, who is that? Like I've never heard of him, whatever. And they were like, yeah, that's like our number one prospect. And I didn't know what a prospect was. I was just like, oh yeah, that guy's like the best player I've ever seen in my life. Like, on
You
TV
said
or
it.
not.
I can back you up. You said it multiple times, but you had the best hands you've seen in the
Bro,
infield.
even now, like it's crazy. I don't want to say it sucks, but like watching him play at first base, I'm like, man, like I would have loved to just watch him play third for a year or shortstop. Obviously he got a different build than he did a few years ago, but like it's his hands, bro, are insane.
So you played short and he played second.
Yeah, or vice versa. Like he played, and when we were in rookie ball, I remember playing second, he played short, and then in low A, he would predominantly play short, and I bounced around a little bit more. But then I got moved up, and then I played only shortstop in Myrtle Beach.
Now, were you guys in Detroit together?
Yes. Yep.
So he's gonna play third every day for us.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he did for the Rays. He would bounce between third and first for the Rays. I'm telling you, bro, that guy legitimately has some of the best hands I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's everyday third baseman, like can pick it over there, but the bat plays. Like
Dude, what?
he swings it, he pulls the ball in the air, and there's been some like talk of like, is that gonna work at Wrigley? Because it's not Tampa. It's like it's gonna work. Like pulling the ball in the air in Wrigley is as a right-handed hitter, like plays. And he can swing it. He walks, he's a good hitter. He's gonna fit in right in the middle of our lineup.
I always find it interesting though when obviously that was back when he was like 18, but like when teams trade a guy and then later on trade back for him. Like I just think that's kind of funny.
They did it back-to-back years. They did Candy last year too.
Yeah, that's
True.
kind of hilarious. And the thing is, they traded them for Justin Wilson. And now they got them both back at different times. And I mean, Paredes has what, 3 years of control after this?
Justin Wilson and Alex Avila.
I was gonna say
And
Alex
Alex Avila.
too. Yeah.
Okay, don't forget Alex Avila.
Sorry.
Good dude, loves cigars.
Kind of wild. Paredes is wearing number 17.
The Cubbies have not given away until last year. The Cubbies had not given away 9, 17, or 44. Candy wore 9 last year, and then which was Javi, and then Paredes
I don't
is gonna
think-
wear.
I don't think
17 for
anybody's
the
gonna
first
wear
year.
44.
I
There's
was
no
going
way
to say, I
somebody
think,
would.
no offense to Javi or KB, but like I put Rizzo above them and just like the organizational impact of like how long he was there. Like I put him, not like all of them unbelievably talented, had incredible Chicago Cub careers, but like I put Rizzo a step ahead of like, you can't give out 44. Like you
I
can't.
don't think they will ever give out 44, and I don't think they will give out 34 again. I think 34
Yeah.
for Lester and Woody. I think that one will get put away.
Really?
I'll be honest.
Lester played for a bunch of teams.
I put him in there with like KB and Javi. Like if they gave those two away, I think they could give 34.
What about Kerry Wood?
I was going to say more so for Kerry Wood. Love
Yeah.
John Lester. Great career. Great job. But like, I'd say more for Kerry Wood. I'd say don't give it away.
Kerry Wood and Lester both were 34, and I think that one, they don't retire numbers at Wrigley or for the Cubs unless the guys are Hall of Famers. So like, Johnny's going to be a borderline guy. In my book, he's a Hall of Famer. One of the best left-handed pitchers of his generation. But, I don't know. I don't see them giving that one out. 34 and 44, I think, are kind of, they're not going on another player.
I'm surprised they gave away any of those. I didn't even notice that Candy was 9, to be honest. It didn't even click in my head. But 17, that is kind of wild. That surprises me that they're not like, hey man, like we're gonna hold on to that one.
I mean, yeah, I think at some point, right? It's like if you're either gonna hold on to it forever or you're gonna at some point you gotta rip the band-aid off and do it. But he's gonna be here for 4 years, 3-4 years minimum, and
Also,
that's what it's like, gonna be here for a while. You actually get to where the fans get to connect with the player. And Mark Grace also wore 17.
We do got to talk about Morel going the other way. That was Zach said it the other day, like how long he was there when
He was
we
there
got
before
drafted.
us.
Yeah. So like he's been with the Cubs or 9 years, 10 years. Like
He's another guy. Like when we got there, so he was in, whatever. I think he was in an accident or something.
yeah.
He couldn't play. I think we've talked about this.
Mhm.
And it was just like you see this kid running around and like you never knew like I didn't know who he was. I was like, why does this guy just not play? I don't get it. And they were just like, oh man, you guys just wait, and obviously he's done some great things. One of the more toolsy guys out there. Like, I mean, he gets obviously a little bit more consistent on the defensive end and hitting as well, but like tools wise, bro, like.
And I will say, a lot of people would give him flack for like being almost too showboaty and stuff like that. If you know Christopher Morel, like that is with no ill intention at all. Like that is literally him playing baseball. Like he just loves playing baseball. And that's like, he was fun to watch just for his joy of the game. Like I hope he goes to Tampa and kills it. Like I love Morel. But yeah, like it was kind of sad, like seeing him get traded. Like he grew up there. Like imagine Zach at like
that's
16,
what I'm saying.
you
Right.
signed to a
bro.
team, like your whole life. That's all you know. And then he's like makes it all the way up through the system, grinds to the top. And then he gets traded. Like it's part of the game, but like I did feel bad a little bit.
He was, I think, a fan. He was a fan favorite, I would say. I think
Yeah.
the passion that he played with, as someone who's obviously become more partial to the Cubs in the last couple of years, like the big moments he had to, the walk-offs, like he always felt like a guy that you wanted up there in a big spot. And it was interesting this year. I feel like he had like I would see a lot on Twitter and when I would watch games, I felt like he was getting maybe the worst strike zone I've ever seen. I felt like umpires, for whatever reason, were not like, he would get a lot of calls where I'd be like, that's like not a strike to anyone else, or that's a ball to anyone else. And I'm excited to see what he does in Tampa Bay, because I think the energy that he brings to a team that's in a weird mode. Like, what is Tampa doing? There's not out of the playoff race, but they're clearly selling off pieces if they think they're not going to compete. Having a guy like that when the season is kind of in a weird spot is I think going to be fun for the Tampa fans. So
I was gonna say I would like to watch him kind of put it all together. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's still like, you watch him play, he's still very raw. Like there's still a ton of work to be done, but there's still already a ton of talent there as is.
He's still really young, and it'll be interesting to see where they play him. He's done a lot of work at third base. Obviously, he's played second in the big leagues when Nico's playing short for us. I think he can play that position. And he's played all three outfield spots too. So, if they want to bounce him out to one of the outfield spots, it'll be interesting to see kind of how they utilize him. But like you guys said, like he has all the tools in the world. He's got an amazing arm. He's fast. He's got raw power. Hits the ball really, really hard. So he does play the game with a lot of joy and passion, and it was really fun to watch that on a daily basis. So yeah, I wish him nothing but, and I think it's gonna be a situation there where he's gonna get to play. Like he's gonna get to play every day, and he's gonna wherever that is, like he's gonna get a chance to run out there and play. And yeah, I think it'll be a good situation for him. And
26 homers last year in 107 games. I mean,
Yeah.
the pop has certainly always been there. 16 homers year before. This year already 18 and 103. Like, he's a guy that is a legit, 30 plus home run threat a year if he can put all the tools together, as you guys said. The question is, can he do that? And then it'll be interesting to see what happens in Tampa.
Should we talk about James McCann? Well, I guess we're talking about the trade deadline. We talked about the Cubbies. I do want to talk about James McCann, but I want to talk about the broader trade deadline as well. There are some teams have made moves already. The Yanks get Chisholm. It's kind of a big move. How do you do it third tonight? Make all the plays?
2 homers.
Yeah, he had some
He
good
had 2 homers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yankees legend.
When the trade happened, and Tom, obviously we want your take on this. It's one of those where like the biggest concerns were like, how's he going to fit in the locker room and that? I think if anything, like the Yankees needed a jolt of energy. Like you had Judge and Soto doing Judge and so like freaks. I mean, Judge is, by the way, sidetrack here. Judge's career OPS is now over 1,000. Insane.
Bro.
Puke. But like they needed a jolt of life from someone other than those two to come in and be like, hey, it's not just you two that can produce. Like we have other guys that can help out. And like Volpe's played really well the last couple of games. I think Verdugo hit like a double today. Like that's kind of to me what the Yankees needed was just like a young, energetic guy to come in and be like, I can help you.
I also think he does a lot of things well. Like I think his ability to run the bases, his ability to play multiple positions, like he's super athletic. But if there's any locker room that you have to assimilate to, it's like the Yankees locker room with all those superstars. It's like you're not you're like those are like you have Judge and Soto and Cole and DJ and Riz and like all these dudes who have proven it and done it for a long time. Like you just go in there and help the team win. Kind of lets the player just go be themselves and try to help the team. And I think that that's, all the talk of like, how's it going to fit? I think it's a good fit.
It'll be interesting to see. We're recording this on Monday night. It feels like there's another move coming. If I had to guess, I think Gleyber Torres is the odd man out. This has been a guy that they've talked about trading for the last couple of years. He feels almost sort of, if you're an NBA fan, Miles Turner-esque, where he's always in trade rumors every year. The most obvious position for Jazz to play is second base, that he's played the most there. He'd never played third base in his entire life, at least professionally before tonight, either in the majors or the minors. He looks comfortable. He said he feels most comfortable in the infield. But to me, it feels like it's hard to evaluate this trade deadline at this exact moment, not knowing what the other moves potentially are. If this is the only move, it's a little concerning. I hope there's a secondary part to this trade as well, but we have to see, obviously.
I saw them linked to Jack Flaherty, which I think could be a good move.
And Flaherty was pulled from his start today in Detroit. So by the time everyone listens to this, they'll have a much better idea than we do of where these players have ended up.
I was really surprised.
Ian had his hand up. Sorry, Zach. Pardon me. Ian had his hand up.
Yeah, I have a question for Tom. Tom, Gleyber Torres is going into his free agent year. Who is going to rent Gleyber Torres? Who's your trade partner?
Very good question. I don't have a great
Tigers
answer.
and hope they can extend him. That wouldn't shock me if he's part of like the Flaherty deal and like they're like, let's hope we can extend Gleyber. I don't know.
I don't see a team giving up. I don't see a team that isn't contending giving up a player and get like, unless it's a salary dump and they just want to get him out, but they're not going to get anything for him. And
I think a certain team could talk themselves into, though, it's just a change of scenery. He feels like a change of scenery guy to me, where it just feels like the talent is obviously there. He had some monster years for the Yankees, but he's really been so up and down the last couple of years. Moving him to shortstop was a move that just seemed to really hurt his confidence, and it's never been quite the same in New York since he moved back to second base. He also, I'm curious how you guys would feel this plays in the locker room. They asked Jazz when Jazz came in, like, where do you feel comfortable playing? Where will you play? And he's like, I'll play wherever they put me. He said, I feel most comfortable in the infield, but I can go pick in the outfield. I'll play wherever. They asked Gleyber the same question, would he play third base? And he said, I'm a second baseman. That's where I'm playing. I'm a second baseman. I don't want to read.
The media asked him that? Or
yes, the media asked him that, and that was his answer to the media, which obviously in New York creates sort of controversy around that. And there's a perception, I think, from the outside that answer is maybe perhaps selfish.
Zach, as an infielder, how obviously there's how big of a difference is second base and third base from your perspective? Obviously very different. I'm just break it down for us.
I think third is a completely different world. Truly.
World.
Completely different world. It's hard to just be an everyday second baseman and then just be like, yeah, I'll go play third. Especially being comfortable at second base and just kind of like he's been there forever. Like third base is a different world, bro. It's a different beast.
Fair.
And for even Jazz today, like I watched a few innings of their game. He made a few really good plays. Like kind of tough. He got caught in between on one, and he, ended up making the play. But it's like, man, I've seen that, bounce off the wrong part of your body before or whatever, and it happens like that.
It's easy to get exposed over there.
Yeah, like it's very, very easy. But I mean, I think the biggest thing at third base is if you're going to make a decision, you have to be 100% convicted or like
You have to
convicted.
commit to it. Like if you're going to charge the ball, you got to go.
You can't, and it has to be done like
Yeah.
as the ball is getting hit. You
Yeah.
can't think anything else.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing about third base that people don't realize, because people see guys get eaten up by a ball that isn't like crushed. You're like, how do you not make that play? Because as soon as the ball is hit, you're making a decision whether you have to charge it or you have to drop step on it. And that decision is so hard at third because it's the difference between taking a step back to catch it a little deeper and get the longer hop, or going to get it and trying to get the short hop. And a lot of guys can get eaten up where they go to try to get that ball, and then it turns into a tweener on them. And it's like, how do you not make that play? It's like, well, because it happened instantly.
And third base is a one-hand position.
Mhm.
If you watch Arenado, like I don't think I've ever seen him field a ground ball with two hands. Like everything is, it looks like he's almost olaying it, but that's how you give yourself and create yourself some more space by pressing through it and like giving, that much more room is the difference between an error and out. And
You can't
honestly,
play third with
even
two
at
hands.
shortstop, Correa plays with one hand better than anybody I've ever seen. Like Correa is, I mean, playing with one hand frees you up so much if you have the feet to do it.
Zach, for you, when you're in that bench role, how do you try to mentally stay locked in at multiple positions? Because obviously, like when you're getting called upon, you're a lot of times coming in late in games, tight spots, in spots where it matters, and you don't know if it's going to be shortstop, second, or third.
Yeah, that's been something that I've had to alter my pregame routine with, whether it's taking them every single day at second, short, and third, which is kind of tiring. Like, it's really tiring. So usually, it depends on also how the roster is constructed too. If there was a point this year where the Braves had me, Riley, Brian Anderson, who I thought was going to play predominantly third if he got in there. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to focus as much on third base as I am. I was the only backup shortstop. So it was like, hey, if Arcia goes down, like that's where I'm going to be. If Ozzy goes down, I forgot it would, it would have been me or somebody else going over there. So I just spent most of my time and mixed in at third, in pregame, either, 2 or 3 times a week. Or I would go over there during early ground balls. But that is the biggest thing too, is finding that arm slot, and because it changes, it's the same thing with your swing. It's like, all right, what am I working with today? If it's like, man, I'm feeling really on top of the ball, you might have to alter your window a little bit from dropping down a little bit compared to third or short. But I think it's just kind of repping things out. And like I said, kind of seeing what you have to work with that day.
It does seem like you're saying the one of the key things at third base is confidence, right? Just being confident in whatever decision you make. And that's, I guess, the one upside for Jazz is that certainly he's not a guy lacking in confidence, and obviously he doesn't have a lot of familiarity over there, but he's going to be that he talked about tonight, like felt comfortable, feel like I'm confident going forward at that position. So
Ian, when we played you guys, when I was filling in for Riley, that was the most confident that I felt at third base, probably in my career, to be honest. And I remember making a play. I think Suzuki hit it to me in the hole. And I kind of like flung it like across my body and like had this nice fade right to Olsen's chest. And I was like, everything was kind of going right at that time. And I was like, bro, if I'm not playing well, I don't think I kind of pull that out of my bag, where it's like, I think that's in any position, but especially, Tom, to your point at third, like, okay, I can really play with one hand here. I can really trust my eyes whether to go get it or, I use the bounce throw with Miguel Amaya hit one to me. But, and again, you see those best guys, like they're not playing with, it's like, whether if I have confidence or not, I'm making this play, whether if I'm hitting or not, like I'm still doing it. I'm doing whatever the play calls for is going to be made. And I think that is such a separator where you can really have a lot of conviction into your decision.
I played third and 18, fill in for KB. He got hit in the head and was down for a little bit. I didn't have any confidence over there, I'll tell you. No confidence for me. No confidence. Wasn't playing with one hand. Nope. I was not doing that. I was going.
You're tackling
let it-
balls.
Yep, let it hit me in the chest and I'll get it over there. You can't
Well,
do that in the big leagues. You can't. It's just
no,
a hot
and
take.
I was really bad at third in low A when I was bouncing around there because, you know, I played shortstop in college and then in short season. And then I haven't really been at third since high school, like early high school. And shortstop, you know, you're taught to kind of get around the ball a little bit and kind of get moving to first base. At third, you're taught to drop step, like to give yourself more
backwards.
room. Yeah, seriously, you know, and I remember this ball that I booted in South Bend. I remember like trying to be like a goalie, like you said, where it just like hits off your chest and you're like, what am I supposed to do there? And Jonathan Moda was like, you know, he opened like a whole new world about
He
drop
was the
stepping.
Cubs. He's the Cubs infield coach.
Yes. And he helped me so much. And to this day, you know, the drop step is a lifesaver over there.
Changes the game. That infield corner is brought to you by Bruce Bolt. BruceBolt.us. The batting gloves that I wear. Best batting gloves in the game. BruceBolt.us. Got the new elephant prints out. Go check them out. They're pretty cool. BruceBolt.us. Arm sleeves, elbow guards, leg guards, batting gloves, really soft shirts. BruceBolt.us. Any other trades that we should cover? I think next week we'll probably talk more about the trade deadline as a whole, but any other ones that came across that we need to discuss?
There was a lot flying off today.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot more movement than typical years, like before the deadline. Like usually
what
it's
I
like
think it
day
is?
of things get crazy.
Yeah. Some of the past deadlines, because I remember in 22 when I was on the block, the day of the deadline was the first day of a series. So it was kind of like we had an off day and then we started the series. So the day before was an off day and then we started the series in St. Louis on the actual deadline day. And so there was moves on that off day because some teams had like a Monday off day and then there was, or maybe it was a Thursday off day, one of the two, and then moves for the first day of the series. I think this year, because it was a Sunday going into the first game of a series, like there was some more moves on that Sunday going into the first day of the series than, you know, there'll still be moves tomorrow. There'll still be last minute moves, but I think that's kind of one of the reasons there was a little bit more activity this year right before.
Ian, can I ask you? So you talked about being on the block in 22, and that was, I remember we were trying to find a recording time, and we were having a difficult time because we weren't obviously sure what was going to happen. And I know we talked probably a little about this at the time, but when you're in that situation, like for the Cubs, obviously a lot of conversation around Tyone, a lot of conversation about Talkman, two guys that there's a decent chance are not on the Cubs after tomorrow. What are you doing in that situation? Are you calling your agent? Like, how are you? Obviously, you're trying to, stay locked in and focus on what you can control, but I'm sure it's human to want to know what's going on. Are you calling your agent? What are you trying to do to, find out information?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely calling my agent, trying to figure out what teams were interested, what were possibilities. I think it's really hard. Think about JMO. JMO's got 2 years. He signed a deal to be with the Cubs for 4 years. He's got 2.5 years left on that deal. He's got a place in Chicago. He's happy, loves the city, loves playing for the Cubs. Out of his control, if he gets traded, he's got to go play his contract out in this city that he didn't choose. Like, that's a crazy thing. Talkman's in the arbitration system. I think he's got 2 more after this. So, like, it's not just this year, it's this year plus. So that was my situation too, was for me in 22, it wasn't just place 2 months and then go to, it was 2 months plus. I had another year before free agency. So the idea of like, okay, if you go play for this team, you're also committing a whole nother year of your life to whatever their spring training is, whatever city they play in. Like, I think from a human element, like that stuff is really, life altering. And so to be able to stay locked in and like keep competing through that without thinking about it or worrying about it, it's just not realistic. I mean, everybody's doing their job when they go out and play, but that's a lot weighing on you, not only yourself, but your family and the people around you.
I'm kind of surprised that Talion started tonight. I'm surprised that they didn't push him back.
Yeah, that tells me a deal might not be like imminent.
Right.
Maybe he's
So-
going to be a Kobe come 6.
Well, and like Ian said, like he has more years of control. So, I mean, they
It's a
make
high
the
price,
Paredes
so
move.
you're not. Yeah. Right.
True, but like they make the Paredes move, which signals to me like, hey, in 2025, like we're not like rebuilding for a long, like, not that you guys have thrown in the towel this year by any means, but like a couple games out, like it might be sell mode time, but it's like, hey, we don't want to just complete tear down here. Like we want to be prepared for next year, worst case.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of what the Cubs do in the next 24 hours. I have no idea exactly what it's going to look like.
Do
What?
Definitely.
They don't read you in on those moves?
No, not in the meetings.
do like the trade deadline season? Do GMs just have? Are they just on the phone all the time?
I want to
Well-
see their screen times.
Zach said it today in like our group text. He goes, how does a 3-team trade work? Like, hey, let's get Bill on the phone and see if he wants in on this.
Do you think Jim wants in?
Let's get him in here. Like he's got a guy we could use.
I'm saying,
Honestly,
like,
that's a great point. I've never thought about who's the first GM that says to the other one, like, hey, this isn't going to work with just us two. We need to get like a third leg in here so everyone can get what they want.
Do you,
And
think
then
they have
they
a
need-
massive, do you think they have a massive group chat and they're like, we're working on something, who's in? Who wants in?
They must have like, obviously, I'm sure like some guys have better relationships with others, like other GMs. So it must be something along those lines of like, hey, I know we can call this guy and he'll help us get a deal done. Like we'll benefit everyone.
So
But it's
weird.
crazy. It's crazy.
Have you guys been watching the Hard Knocks they're doing the offseason with the Giants right now?
Oh,
As
yeah.
a Giant fan, I'm so locked in on it. And watching Shane make a trade with one of his best friends, who was the GM of the Panthers, and the Panthers came back in that Brian Burns trade and asked for like a 7th rounder at the end. And you could tell he was just so annoyed with him as like his friend. He was like, what are we doing? Like, come on, a 7th rounder? Like, this is what we're holding up right now? And they finally didn't throw in the 7th rounder. But I was like, that must be so awkward to like, Brian Burns is, signed a huge deal with the Giants. And to get that guy is so important, but to be also trying to negotiate and like beat your friend, it's got to be, a guy that he's like spent like 15 years with before. That's got to be such a weird relationship. That's the number one documentary I want to see is like the fully unabashed, because Hard Knocks is good, but there's still obviously protections around it. Give me the uncut, like raw footage of what that's like. Hold it for 10 years or something. So everyone's like out of the league, release it 10 years later. That's the documentary I want to make so bad. I'd be so interested in.
Don't fire Zach up because you get they'll play like the in-game mics and Zach loves those. He loves like here. I love it too. Like I find it so interesting to hear what like NFL guys are saying to each other between plays, like uncut somehow. Like the hot mics get out, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Bottom of the 9th. 2 outs. Bases full. Down 3. The crowd on their feet. The drama of baseball is real. And so is all the action on the DraftKings Sportsbook. From the first pitch to the final out, DraftKings has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boost, and so much more. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code COMPOUND. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code COMPOUND only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/baseball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
All right, we're gonna shift
Ian.
away from football and back
Yeah,
to baseball. It's
I
the
saw that
Compound
coming.
Podcast. Let's talk about James McCann. He got hit in the face today with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and stayed in the game at catcher.
With gauze
game-
and like a bloody eye.
After the game, his face in that interview was crazy.
Bro, he didn't.
Whatever eye got hit, left eye was shut. How did
Yeah.
he catch? It was like this.
He literally looked like he was just in a UFC fight.
Yeah.
And I mean, he didn't even wear a C-flap after he got hit.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking about this now. If he's catching, that means Adley's DHing. So if he comes out of that game, Adley has to go behind the plate. They lose their DH.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so
was-
what? I mean,
I
what,
don't disagree with you, but that's a team guy move.
it was
He's
also
gonna
like
take a seat.
11-5 when he got, or like 11-4 when he got hit. And it's like,
No,
I think we can survive.
no. Didn't he get hit in the first inning?
Oh, hang on.
No.
Please hold. Please hold.
Bro,
Somebody play the footage. Somebody play the tape. Tom, play the tape. What's it look like?
Yes, first. Yeah, he did get hit in the first thing. Okay, I mean, fair, but still, like, that's wild. Like, you got to just be like, all right, guess we lost our DH.
How
Or
do
just
you
go up
stay in
to
there?
someone on the bench, be like, hey, you caught in high school, right? Let's get you back there. We'll be all
Well,
right.
that was also the first game, the first inning of a doubleheader too. So if you lose him out of, you lose him out of that game, Adley's got to come in. You lose the DH, and then also you're assuming obviously that it's probably you're not going to want him to catch game 2 after that. So Adley's now going to catch
Yeah.
17 innings.
Adley's going to catch 17 innings. Plus, if Adley gets hurt, you are screwed.
Adley's young. He'll be all right.
Can you call somebody up
Young.
in between games? Could they call up AAA catcher in between games? of the
somebody goes
doubleheader?
on the IL.
In between
yeah.
games, how are they going to find him a flight in between games? What are they
They're
gonna
triple
get
A's
him
in
on a horse
Norfolk.
and get him there?
Get on the car.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yankees
We
have
gotta
paid for
trade.
some real expensive Ubers from Scranton. I remember a couple of those where guys were coming in from Scranton.
We got to trade. What do we got, Zach? What do we got? We got to trade.
Trade live on the show.
Say it.
Trade live. Jorge Soler to the Braves. 2021 reunion.
Georgie's back.
Wow.
Georgie's back with the Bravos.
The Yankees apparently are still interested in Yandy Diaz as well. Tom, we got more moves.
Where would he play?
Wherever they want.
You
Don't
get my
matter.
first. Little DH.
We'll throw him in there.
You
They're
kicking
looking-
Ben,
they're looking for a
kicking Ben
leadoff
Rice
hitter.
to the curb.
No, I mean Riz is going to come back at some point, but he's not back right now. Plus, they need.
No. Ben Rice.
Oh, I don't know about Ben Rice. I don't know how he's been playing. But
Ian
also-
only cares about his friends. Okay. Come on.
Sorry, don't know. But also, they've been looking for a leadoff hitter, and Yandy does that.
That's fair.
Yandy does that thing where he hits first.
Why don't you have Jazz lead off? Is he not a good leadoff hitter? He's fast, right?
I think they view him as a middle of the order bat.
Yeah,
kinda-
fair.
yeah,
Totally
yeah, but
fine. I
you
mean, it's
can-
working. They put up 14 runs.
Bro, you can. I mean, having Jazz in the middle of that lineup who can kind of do anything. He can run. Like I think he has 25 bags this year, right? Like, and he can
He's
hit for
fast.
some. He can kind of really. It's almost like a middle of the order leadoff guy with some pop.
Yeah, 23.
Well,
bags.
the hard part about leading off in front of Soto and Judge is like, if I get on base, I'm not really gonna risk getting thrown out because they're gonna
That's
hit
true.
a homer or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't really need like a speedster at the top. You just need someone like, hey, man, who can get on base? That's all we need you to
If
do.
you can get on base at 350 to 380, you guys are gonna score a lot of runs.
Put Austin Wells in the leadoff. Guy's got 342 OBP. Sure. Why not? Go ahead, Tom.
loves
Let's
it.
get
Look at Tom's
crazy.
wheels. Tom's wheels are going. He's
Kyle
wearing
Yeah,
Schwarber
flying
leads
shirts.
off. Kyle
The-
Schwarber
the
leads
per-
off. That works.
The perfect guy to lead off would be like 2019 DJ LeMahieu because like that guy was just hitting
Okay.
350, but unfortunately he's not walking in the door anymore.
Yeah, perfect guy to lead off would be 2000 Derek Jeter. Like, but this is a fantasy land.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but DJ LeMahieu's still on the team. He hypothetically
Right,
could
is he?
be-
I mean,
Well, we'll see. By the time this podcast comes out, he might not be anymore. But
fair.
In 2016, when the Show Cubbies won the World Series, Dexter Feller had like a 385 on base out of the leadoff spot. Can you imagine?
Ian, I did have another topic I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, please.
So if in a fantasy land where Aaron Judge does not exist because he's unbelievable, I got Bobby Witt Jr. winning MVP. That guy is incredible. I didn't realize like in other sports, you'll see teams like they'll have like their key player like lead them to like a turnaround and lead them to wins. Like the Royals kind of came out of nowhere and are like really good. And I think a lot of it is because of how good Bobby Witt is. He's a freak.
He's so good.
Hang on, I have his stats here. Okay.
I have Bobby Witt's numbers in the month of July.
Oh,
He's
sure.
hitting 488 this month with a 505 on base and an 857 slugging. He has 41 hits in 21 games. He has 16 extra base hits. He's only one game where he went hitless in the entire month. He has 6 3-hit games, and he has 1 4-hit game.
Ew.
Can I just say, we just played the Royals, and I think he might have had 2 hits in the series against us, 2 or 3. He just missed a lot of balls, like just missed a lot of balls where he like flew out, but it was a good swing. I saw a stat like that on the Royals Jumbotron before the game. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a mistake because it was like Bobby Witt hitting like 600 at home this month. And I was like, that's
Like,
not
nah,
possible. It was
that
like,
can't
that's
be
not
real.
real. You can't hit, but I guess it was real. His numbers are crazy. Like his slash, his triples, that ballpark good for triples, but like he's got like
10 already this year.
yeah, he's got double-digit triples. He's got 20+ doubles. He's got 18 pumps in that stadium. He's got a billion bags. Like it's pretty impressive.
I think what I didn't see coming, I got 3 things. First, I didn't see this power, like watching him in the minors. Like he's proven it over years now, 20, 30, and now 18 so far. The second thing, Sneaky gets caught stealing a ton, which is kind of wild to me for how fast he is. He has like 10 caught stealings, which, you know, that's a lot. Whatever. Keep running. You're fast. And the third thing, the super impressive thing to me, he's played every single game.
He's
Like
played every
that-
single game. That's a good one.
He played 150 games in 22, 158 last year, and every game so far this year, like knock on wood, like that's crazy good durability for someone that is so fast.
From your face of the franchise,
Mhm.
every day shortstop to go out there, you fly around, you hit triples, you steal bases, and you're out there every single day setting the standard of like I go out and play every single day. That's awesome. Like it's
Yeah.
awesome. I liked watching him play baseball.
Yeah.
I'll say that. He's one of those guys that like if there's somebody to like watch play the game and just like do it like that, like play like Bobby Witt because he's doing it the right way. It was really cool. Also, shout out to Salvi Perez doing it. He's still doing
it. Just
Guys,
doing it.
and he's an awesome person. You walk up to home plate, Salvi is the nicest dude,
Ever.
knows everybody's name, good guy, and God bless is he's still doing it.
You know what's crazy?
He had a homer against us that went really far, and I said, he's still doing it.
What's crazy is Zach. How old would you guess he is? I mean, he's fairly
He's
old.
young.
He's
34?
34. Like 34. Like
Yeah.
that's younger than I would have guessed. Like, oh, he's got to be almost 40. Like he
No,
might be
he's
39.
but
40.
he's been in the big leagues forever, and he's at a position that's not easy to play for a long time. And he bounces around to first catch, and he's just doing it. He's still swinging it.
Ian,
So
do you
good.
like that stadium? Really?
Not my favorite.
Zach, don't you love it?
I love it, dude.
It's cool. I mean, it's cool. They got the fountains going. It's just really big. It's really big. Never really. I've only played there a couple of times, but I've never really swanged it there. I hit a ball there in 20. I was hot. I was doing good things, and I hit a ball there in 20 at the end of the game. Might have been the last. I might have been the last out of the game. 104, like absolutely laced in the left center gap. Center fielder ran it down, like caught it against the fence, like it almost killed himself, and I just didn't love that because that's a
Zach-
homer in a lot of places.
Zach, I feel like the difference is Ian bases what stadiums he likes on where he performs well, and
Well-
yours is like, this is a cool place.
No, I mean I hit a pinch hit homer there last year, so like I like that place too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fair. Fair. I remember
It's
that.
one of the stadiums in the big leagues I have not homered in.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the fountains are cool, and then, I don't know when the Mets were in the World Series there. I just remember that place being absolutely bonkers, and that's what
Yeah.
everybody said. Like that place in the playoffs is crazy.
You know what else I don't love about it? And I don't want to hate on it. I'm not a hater. It's just a big parking lot. Just a big parking lot.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's a little bit out of the way. Like downtown Kansas City,
That area, awesome.
be a cool place for a ball yard.
Yeah,
Put a ball yard right in the city. Let people walk to the yard.
but that's got to be an elite tailgate spot for baseball
yeah.
and or football.
Elite.
Elite, bro.
It's just a massive, massive parking lot connecting the two stadiums.
With a really, really bad man under center too.
Don't start on football, Ian.
Sorry.
Okay, we're going to move on from football and the Compound Podcast, and we're going to head over to Dakota. He's got another topic for us.
My last topic I got is the Olympics are going on. The Olympics.
The Olympics. Have you seen a favorite? Do you have a favorite thing you've seen so far?
I'm going to be honest. Beach volleyball with the
Nuts.
Eiffel Tower behind it, like that view is sick. And beach volleyball is just so fun to watch.
Beach volleyball,
electric.
electric. And we were in the locker room in KC, and guys were watching Team USA play basketball. And you know what was on the other TV? The women's team archery final.
Yeah, dude,
And
it's
it was
all sick.
electric. It was electric. It was South Korea versus I think China. And these women were just bullseye. Bullseye. If you had an 8 or a 9, you were just, it was over. It was like, that's electric. That's electricity. Where you're watching you're watching basketball players run around and do stuff. Cool. Okay. They beat Serbia by 1 million. I want to see the archery final. Just
What's sick too is like those well-known sports like table tennis, like the stadiums and arenas are packed. Like the place is going nuts with every point or like everything that happens. I'm like, this is so sick.
yeah, synchronized diving was pretty good.
Oh, I love like the high dive, like all those, dude. They're sick.
I mean, can you imagine you have a partner and you're like, hey, we're going to do the exact same thing at the exact same time. And if we don't hit the water at the same time, we're going to get penalized for it.
yeah.
We're going to spin in the air together. And if we don't touch the water in symmetry at the same time, it's a problem.
Well,
Did you see in the women's synchronized diving, Australia had like a pretty sizable lead, and one of the girls slipped on the last dive, and they went all the way from the gold medal spot on the last dive to 5th.
heartbreaking.
That's like you got to
Heartbreaking.
think about that the rest of your life. Like, oh my God.
Heartbreaking.
And let me tell you, this gold zone they got going, similar to red zone, and they got Scott Hansen running it. I hope Driveline's not listening. I don't get a lick of work done. We just got that going all morning. I'm just watching that thing all morning. I'm like, this is sick. Locked in on every event. Like every event is something. There's a lot of them I've just never seen before. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, how do you get going on this early in your life? Like, who decides what's the one? Like even archery. Like, I don't know. Like when I'm 4 years old, like, what do you put a bow and arrow in my hand and say, like, go shoot a target? Like, that's crazy.
The
So
U.S. The U.S. is currently leading the total medal count with 20. They're up on France. Looks like they're in number 2 with 16, and then China and Japan with
Dude.
12 each. But we are down in the gold medals. Japan has
La-
6, France has 5, China has 5, Australia has 5, Korea has 5. We have 3.
Last thing I got, we were watching fencing today, and it was like an Italian guy versus a Hong Kong guy. First of all, Hong Kong, their gold medal bonus, $750,000. The U.S., for reference, $37,000. So that's crazy. First of all, they were fencing, and apparently, I know nothing about fencing. The Italian guy and his coach didn't like a rule that was called or something, and he was screaming at like the refs, like he's over on the side in their face, like screaming. I'm like, this is mayhem. This is sick. So cool.
Fencing is an electric sport.
Electric. I don't know how it works. I'm like, oh, he poked him. It's got to be a point or
Yeah,
something.
that's what you got to get it. You got to get in the chest. You got to get him in the chest.
I feel like
Can't go too low.
you are bougie enough that you've gone fencing before.
I took a fencing. When
There
I
it
was
is.
a kid. When I was a
Bingo.
kid, I did a fencing summer camp.
Yep. That
And I
checks
was
out.
good. I was good at it.
I bet you were. That is unbelievable that you did.
If there was one Olympic event for me, that might be it. Or
I gotta say,
handball.
I've never seen a fencer smile, so I think that works. You would fit right in there. I could see your personality.
Ian, I think you
translating.
smile all the time.
really
You're
well.
a happy guy. There's a smile right there.
Fencing is an electric sport.
Oh, it's very good.
Let's get the people screen time. Let's get the people screen time presented by Sloan. Sloan Screen Time presented by our friends at Sloan. Sloan is the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. The company is at the forefront of the green building movement and provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water efficient products, including flushometers, faucets, sinks, systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. What are your screen times?
Mine's like messed up for some reason. That's 13 minutes, which is just not true.
Yeah, that's what mine was doing for a while.
8 hours,
I-
54 minutes.
Tom said, let me just get this out of the way. I'm just going to throw it out
Wow,
there. There it
Tom.
is.
Mine's
Oh.
5:36.
I mean, I don't even,
231. 231.
I don't have a number. Mine like didn't track anything
All
on my
right,
phone.
mine,
It
that
only
happened to
tracked
me
my
last
iPad.
week, and so I'm not gonna penalize you at all.
Okay. I was like, I don't know what happened. It's weird. That's a good day, Ian.
Yeah, I had a really nice day
How do you get that low on a Sunday? That's crazy. I don't know
because
why.
I hang out with my teammates, man. I
It's
care.
good. It's a good team
Okay?
guy.
I care.
respect
I
that.
talk. I socialize. That's episode 2. I said 212, and it's 218. Is that right? 218 of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Rum. Go to Benny's to get your Parse. Tell them the Compound sent you. We will see you next week.